As the IQAC coordinator of the college, I welcome you all to this webinar and I wish all the very best to each and everyone present in this special occasion. With immense pleasure, let me invite our beloved principal, Dr. Bijit Paul, who is the backbone of our college and a true supporter of our IQAC team for the inaugural speech.
Respected resource person, Professor Priya Josanathara, your IQAC coordinator, Dr. Matthew Stipeli, our vice principal, Dr. Octavia here, and my dear colleagues and other participants. I am proud to know that the IQAC of State College is organizing a webinar on a very relevant theme. The success of an institution lies in its performance, but the core values which the institution practices are also very important. These values include gender equity, social responsibility, environmental sustainability, professional ethics. The list is very long. As an academic institution, State College has been striving hard to achieve these goals. But we know we have a long way to go. I'm happy that we have got a very eminent resource person, Professor Priya Josanathara, to enlighten us on various aspects of institutional values and green practices. Welcome, madam. I wish all the participants a very fruitful session and hereby declare the webinar inaugurated. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. It is a great honor for me to introduce and welcome our respected Vice Principal, Father Dr. Xavier Sears, who is the pillar of our institution. With profound gratitude, I invite you for a few words as felicitation. Father, please.
Very good morning to you all. I hope I am audible to you all. Dear and respected Principal Dr. Bijit Paul, our IQAC coordinator Dr. Matthew Stelly, and our NAC coordinator Dr. Sandhya, and all those who are on and off the screen of this webinar. A very good morning and a very warm welcome to one and all again to this faculty development program through webinar. It's my privilege and honor to greet you and felicitate you all on this August moment. First of all, I take this opportunity to congratulate our IQAC as well as our NAC coordinators, Dr. Matthew Stitherley and Dr. Sandhya respectively. I know very personally the pain and efforts that took to happen this webinar today. And by the grace of God, we have got an eminent speaker as our resources persons today, Professor Priya Josanathara. Though it is through webinar, I cordially welcome dear Priya to our KE College family. And I am quite sure that we will not miss or we will not waste our time by attending this webinar, because she is the apt person to deliver such a talk on the role of institutional values and green practices in our accreditation process. I came to know that from different parts of our country, the faculty, students, and scholars are attending in this webinar. For their information, I would like to mention the vision, mission, and motto of KE College. First of all, I welcome you all to this webinar, and I welcome you all to Kyriakos Elias College. The vision of the college is to become a center par excellence of learning, unique in experience, value-based in approach, and committed in service for enriching and fulfilling life. The mission of the college is to facilitate comprehensive and integral development of individuals who effectively function as instruments of social change, imbued with a righteousness and courage of conviction. That means dare to dream and strive to achieve. I think this webinar is a part of our vision and mission, to fulfill our vision and mission. And today, we are arranging this faculty development program for the all-round development of our college. And it is as part of our social commitment also. Our motto is Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya. Lord God Almighty, lead us from darkness to light. That is the motto of our college. So I welcome you all to this webinar. I'm quite sure that we can acquire something out of this seminar. Once again, I congratulate one and all, on and off the screen, and I welcome all those who are attending this seminar, and may this webinar be a grand success in its all sense. God Almighty bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. With all-hearted joy, I invite my friend, the mastermind behind this program, the Dr. Sandhya C., our NAC coordinator, for introducing the resource person.
Good morning, one and all. I feel greatly privileged to introduce the resource person of the day, Professor Priya Josen, Faculty, Department of Life Sciences, Kristu Jayanti College, Bangalore. She is a member of College IQAC and coordinator of Environment Club. Her specialization is in biochemistry and has 22 years of research experience along with teaching and industry. She secured first rank in BSc Chemistry and MSc Biochemistry and also have A grade in MPhil Biochemistry. She has published many articles in peer-reviewed journals. Professor Priya has been instrumental in securing Green Campus certificate with gold rating for Kristu Jayanti College. Above all, she is a lover of nature. I invite my dear friend Priya Josen to deliver the presentation. Over to Priya.
Thank you, Sandhya. Good morning, one and all present here. Thank you for the sweet introduction, Dr. Sandhya, my dear friend and classmate for MSc. We have known each other for the past 30 years. I express my sincere thanks and gratitude to the principal of KE College, Dr. Bridget Paul, Vice Principal, Reverend Dr. Xavier C.S., IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Matthew Stipelli, College Management and staff of KE College, Mannanam. Special thanks to the NAC Coordinator, Dr. Sandhya C., for planning the event and placing the confidence in me to share my little knowledge with you today in this virtual FDP organized by IQAC on role of institutional values and green practices in accreditation process. I express my gratitude to the director of Kristu Jayanti College, Father Joskuti PD, and I'm also happy to tell you that Father Joskuti today, when I asked him to pray for me, he said, sure, I will pray. The Mannanam College, K. Mannanam College is my alma mater. I did my pre-degree there. So I am happy that we have a very visionary leader with us, Father Joskuti PD, who did his pre-degree in K. College, Mannanam. And happy to tell you that. And I also express my gratitude to our principal, Reverend Dr. Augustine George, Director IQAC Dr. Aloysius Edward, and the entire IQAC team whom I represent today for molding me in the path of excellence. Hope all of you are sailing in the boat of good health and keeping safe. COVID-19 has taught us a lot of things to accept the things that we cannot change, and to change according to the need of the hour. We are blessed to be here to share and gain ideas in our quest for knowledge as we change and adapt ourselves to digital platforms. Now, I'll just share 1 minute. Can you see the presentation now? Are you able to see the presentation? Okay. So I am sure that all of you who are here believes in this, and that is the reason why all of you are here today. And so the need of the hour is that existing education needs to be reoriented towards sustainability, sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, and we have to conserve and preserve the natural environment. And of course, we are doing a lot of things to make our environment plastic free. And it is high time that we embed sustainable development goals, and we have to promote partnerships between the colleges in each state and the communities around us, so that we actually spread the sustainable development goals around, because this is the need of the hour. And we should have ideas for greening the local communities, and I'm sure Kerala is doing a fantastic job in this, and improving biodiversity, because our biodiversity is depleting day by day and many species are becoming extinct, and we have a moral responsibility to save our biodiversity. And as teachers, we have to train students with job skills related to environment, water restoration, how to audit water, management of energy, waste management, and of course, how to preserve and save biodiversity. So that is the need of the hour now. And this year, Environment Day, every year Environment Day is being celebrated on June 5th. And this year has been completely devoted to conservation of biodiversity. So we have to conserve biodiversity to preserve humanity. And India is one of the 12 mega diversity countries in the world, and which is concentrated in the floristically rich areas of Northeast India, Western Ghats, of course, which runs through our beautiful Kerala, Northwest Himalayas, and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And we have to realize that I didn't know that India is one of the 12 mega biodiversity countries in the world. And once we realize that, we have to re-evaluate our responsibility to maintain this beautiful balance of ecosystem by conserving and enhancing biodiversity. And another important thing which we have to take care is the conservation of lakes. Lakes constitute the Earth's most important freshwater resource, supporting huge biological diversity, whether it be inside the lake or be the surrounding areas which are near the lakes. It provides a wide range of ecosystem services, and hence lakes and rivers have to be saved and preserved. And in Kerala, we have lots of lakes and rivers. We have the backwaters. We have to preserve and save them. Now coming to today's topic, institutional accreditation. So having given an introduction to the need of the hour, how to preserve environment, and what is its role in institutional accreditation, that is the topic for us. Okay, now coming to the NAAC's role of institutional accreditation, it is actually based on, there are 7 criteria. Out of all the 7 criteria, every criteria has a core thing, which is quality. So everything is concentrated on quality. And quality, what are the quality initiatives which we take? And what are the quality, what are the steps we take to sustain this quality? And what are the steps we take to enhance this quality? So it is not enough if we take some initiatives towards quality. Now this quality is applicable to all 7 criteria, whether it be the criteria 1 regarding the curriculum, whether it be the second criteria, which is regarding the teaching and learning, third criteria regarding research and extension activities, fourth infrastructure, 5 student progression, and so on. So any criteria, if you take, quality matters the most. So all the questionnaires are actually targeting at the quality, and it is whether we are taking the initiatives towards quality and what are the steps we take to sustain this quality. It is not enough if we just take the quality initiatives, it has to be sustained. And what are the steps? It should not remain stagnant. Every year there should be a progress. What are the steps which we take in order to enhance the quality? So if you see the questionnaire, everything is based on that. And the bedrock of all these are the core values. So NAAC has given 5 core values on which these criteria depends upon. So these are the 5 core values: contribution to national development, whether our curriculum, whatever we are developing, or whether our research is actually contributing to national development. Fostering global competencies among students. Okay, so this is one very critical area which we have to think as an institution. Whatever we teach them, whether it be the academics or the skill development which we teach or the research which we take, whatever we teach our students, are they able to compete at a global level? It is not just enough that the students are able to perform well in Kerala or in India as such. Whichever country they will go, they have to be competent enough to perform among other students. So that should be the training which we should give as an institution. Third is inculcating a value system among students. And that is the one which is being reflected in criteria 7. It is not just academics what matters a lot. And as teachers, we know, as we have traveled through our journey of life, we have understood that it is a value system which has been inculcated in us, either be it the school level or in the college level. That is what we carry towards, carry with us, and that is what we spread it out, whether it be in the family or in our surroundings. So this inculcating a value system among students is the third core value, which is being reflected in criteria 7. Promoting the use of technology. So this is another core value which is of utmost importance now during this COVID time. We can understand that we are all depending upon technology. All of us are, where we were apprehensive in using ICT technology in the earlier years, but now that is a thing. Without ICT technology, we cannot proceed further. So promoting the use of technology, and of course a quest for excellence. Excelling in any field we take. Okay, so any of the criteria we take, whether in our criteria, whether in our curriculum, whether it is the research, whether it is the extension activities, whether we're in imbibing values to our students, whatever it is, are we having a quest for excellence? So these are the 5 core values of on which the NAAC is depending upon. Now, in order to go into this, let me just introduce you to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which is adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015. So the United Nations have given 17 goals to transform our world, and the target date is 2030. So these are the 17 goals, that is no poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, clean water, affordable and clean energy, industry, innovation and infrastructure, decent work, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, partnership for the goal. So these are the 17 goals, and Kristu Jayanti is one of the hubs for the United Nations 17 goals. Goal number 1, poverty. So why I showed this particular 17 goals is, if you see the criteria 7, half of these 17 goals are being reflected in criteria 7, which shows that it is of very much importance in the present day. Okay. Now coming into the criteria 7, institutional values and best practices. So criteria 7 is dealing out of the 7 criteria which NAAC has prescribed. Criteria 7 is based on the institutional values and best practices which we are going to deal with today. Now, many of you might be part of IQAC or might be part of the NAAC working committee, or might be part of documentation in your colleges. So these are the things which we should be taking care of. Institutional values and social responsibilities is 7.1. So criteria 7 is divided into 3. 7.1 is institutional values and social responsibilities. 7.2 is best practices. 7.3 is institutional distinctiveness. Now, out of the 100 marks here, one peculiarity of criterion 7 is all criteria have got different weightages in universities, autonomous colleges, and affiliated constituent colleges, while criteria 7 has equal weightages for universities, autonomous colleges, as well as affiliated constituent colleges. That is why you can see in this PPT So if you see here, out of the 100 marks, 50 marks is being given to institutional values and social responsibilities, and half of it is given to best practices and institutional distinctiveness. So 30 plus 20 for 7.2 and 7.3. Today we will be discussing 7.1 institutional values and social responsibilities, which carry solid 50 marks. So the accreditation framework of NAAC is based on 5 core values, and today we are concentrating on the third core value, inculcating a value system among our students. In a country like India, with cultural pluralities and diversities, it is essential that students imbibe the appropriate values commensurate with social, cultural, economic, and environmental realities at the local, national, and university levels. So this core value is reflected in criteria 7, institutional values and best practices. Okay, so green initiatives. What are the green initiatives? Before going into that, let me just describe 7.1, institutional values and social responsibilities, which carries 50 equal marks. Out of this, 7.1.1 is gender equity. Now this carries 5 marks. Gender equity is nothing but what are the steps which we take in our college towards gender equity. Okay, what are the steps which we are taking towards promotion of activities or taking care of women assets. Gender equity is equal this thing for men and women, but a little special emphasis for women, whether we have counseling facilities, whether we have security, whether we have installed cameras in different locations of the campus, so that the students are feeling secure. Okay, and what is your gender equity action plan in a particular year? So every year you should have a gender equity action plan. What are the steps which you will be taking towards in that particular year? Will you be conducting any self-defense training program, or any upliftment of women program, or any conferences related to that? You can conduct anything of that sort. And then maybe what are the steps which you take towards in your college, whether you have 50-50 equal weightage for girls and boys in your college, what is the ratio of administrative staff, teaching staff? So that and all comes under gender equity. Okay, now coming to 7.1.2 to 7.1.7 is environment consciousness and sustainability, which carries a solid 26 marks, which we'll be discussing in detail now. I'll go to the next one, which is 7.1.8, which is inclusion and situatedness. Now, this question is based upon whether our college or our institution is having an inclusive nature, whether any students, whether they come from different cultural background or regional background or different language, or whether they are coming from different communities or any other diversities, are they feeling safe and secure and happy in our institution? Are we having an inclusive nature towards them? So this is how are we managing them? Then about the situatedness, where our colleges or where our institution is located, what are we doing for the local people there? Okay, or the local students there? Are we promoting them? So this is what is happening in inclusion and situatedness. Now, 7.1.9, 10, and 11 deals with human values and professional ethics. What is our institution's role towards human values? Okay, whether it is human rights, values, duties, responsibilities of citizens. Are we promoting that? Now, what are the things which we do about the professional ethics? Do we have a professional code of conduct? Okay, do we have a professional code of conduct, whether it be for the students? That is 7.1.10, code of conduct for students, teachers, administrators, and other staff. So, do we have a written code of conduct for students, written code of conduct for teachers, administrative staff, and other staff? It is always better to have that, okay, so that we can actually follow that. And whether we have a committee which looks into it, that these things are being followed. For example, we have something called as values and culture committee, which takes care of, we have a committee of teachers in that who takes care and sees that students follow the code of conduct. So it actually helps in promoting the discipline in the college also, this code of conduct. Similarly, if the faculty are clear about the code of conduct, they know as to how to carry out certain things, how to behave in certain specific situations and such things. So if it is well written down and documented, people are aware as to how to go about. And then 7.1.1, which most of the colleges does, is celebrates, organizes national and international commemorative days, events, and festivals. So now NAC is promoting such activities in college, because it should be a overall development of a student. Is not just academics. There should be moral values into it. There should be cultural values into it. Students should be knowing about the different festivals, different culture around. Okay, so that is like whether you're celebrating Independence Day, Republic Day, Onam, Deepavali, or any other festivals, or commemorative festivals or commemorative events. For example, Environment Day, Biological Diversity Day, no pollution control day regarding environment. Other than that, you can go for Science Day, Mathematics Day. So each department can list out days which is relevant to their department, and it could be celebrated in any way, either by doing some programs or by organizing some conferences. It is all up to you. So that is the different classes under 7.1. So now we will go into 7.1.2 to 7.1.7. So on a whole, the metrics on environment consciousness and social responsibilities looks at whether institution displays sensitivity to issues like climate change, environment issues, and whether it adopts environment-friendly practices and takes necessary action on conservation of water, energy, waste management, and green practices. So these are the ones which we are going to deal with in 7.1.2 to 7.1.7. Now, to go into that, unlike the other criteria, this particular criteria, we have to go step by step like a cycle. So to start with, green initiatives towards environment consciousness and sustainability. What are the green initiatives which we take in our institution? First of all, we have to frame green policies. Most of the colleges will be having green policies. If you don't have, you can frame the green policies. If you have, you can revisit them and you can make changes as to how your green policy should be. Next is you have to list out sustainable green practices. I'm sure every college will be doing so many activities related to green practices, sustainable green practices. No, for example, cleaning up the environment, planting more trees, looking taking care of the neighboring community, growing vegetable garden. So many practices you will be doing. Only thing is you might not have listed it out. So please see that you list out what are the activities. You yourself will be surprised, oh, we are doing so many things. Next is communicate the green practices to students, faculty, and administrative staff. So it is not just enough that we do it. The entire institution must be clear as to what are we doing in our college. So when somebody asks from outside, everybody should be knowing what are the things which is happening in our institution. After that, next is implement the green practices in the campus and in the neighboring community. So it is not just enough if you are implementing inside the campus, it should also go into the communities. Okay, so that is very, very important. That is one particular question they have asked. What are our contributions towards the community around our institution? What are we doing? And then we go for the green audit. So audit, I'll explain in detail in the next slide. And then last of all, we can go for a green certificate or awards related to that. And before going into all this, we have to see that this particular institutional value or environment consciousness and sustainability, we have a responsibility to inculcate that into our students. How do we do that? Now, in order to understand that, it is always better to incorporate these into our curriculum. So it can be a non-core subject, it can be a value-added course, or it can be a project. Non-core subject, it can be either environment science, and disaster preparedness, I think, is very, very important, especially for most of the states now which are facing floods and other pandemics and situations like that. How to prepare ourselves for a particular disaster. That particular course will be very important, I feel. Sustainable development, waste valorization, that is a new thing. Valorization is nothing but how do you convert waste into usable products. Okay, so these can be non-core subjects. These are just few examples which I have put from a life science faculty point of view. You can put it much more or much better ones depending upon the department in which you belong to, according to the subject which you belong to. Value-added courses can be in vermicomposting, rainwater harvesting, biogas production, hydroponics. So basically value-added courses, it is always better to have some practical part also to it, so that when our students go out of their college, they carry this outside and they can actually implement it outside. Then we can give projects which are based on zero waste entrepreneurship, environmental impact. You can make some surveys on the impact of certain things in your neighborhood, impact of pollution in your neighborhood, bioremediation, different ways of bioremediation. You can make a study of the biodiversity around your area in a particular lake or in a particular village or something like that. So these can be carried out, which can be incorporated into the curriculum. Now, another thing is students are always happy if they get credit. They are not happy to do things. Of course, there are many very good number of students who are very passionate about doing things, but a whole majority of students will be happy if they get credits. So it is always better to give them credits. Maybe we can give them if they are going for a paper presentation or poster presentation on climate change or any environmental issues, or if they are participating in environment extension activities, maybe in the college or in the neighboring community, or if they are involved in some lab to land programs. From the lab, they execute something in the land, such programs. And of course, for the projects, conservation of energy and water, alternate energy resources, sensor alert systems. Students can be asked to make certain sensor alert systems so that energy, we can actually control energy wastage. So such things, it is better. So one is incorporation into curriculum. Next thing is we have to award credits for these. And then, of course, research based on environment. It can be environment impact assessment, biofuel production, plastic recycling, treatment processes, recycling effluents, vehicular pollution impact. And of course, there are so many other research projects which could be carried out based on environment. Now, so once we have incorporated all this into the curriculum, so this stays within the campus. Now we have to spread it out to the neighboring community. So that is what we call it extracurricular activities, inculcating social responsibility, where the students carry this outside. So it can be involvement in government initiatives like Swachh Bharat, Swachhata Pakhwada, or you can conduct competitions related to environment. It can be an intra-collegiate competition or intercollegiate or national level competitions. For example, we are conducting national level Green India essay competition for the past 7 years. So something related with environment. Then celebrating important days. It can be Environment Day, National Pollution Control Day, and doing something related to that particular thing on that day in the college. It can be planting of saplings, or it can be anything. You can come out with creative ideas. And of course, awareness programs in the neighborhood communities and villages. And of course, collaboration with local institutes and government agencies. That is always better when we have a collaboration with government agencies or local institutes. And then next is the extension services. This extension services is having an implication in criteria 3 also. There is a lot of marks given for extension services in criteria 3. So when these extension services are conducted, majority of the extension services can be in the environment area. So in each institution, you will have different types of extension services. NSS and NCC is common to most of the colleges. You can have a Center for Social Activities or Environment Club or Nature Club. And these activities can be carried out in the neighborhood villages, or you can adopt certain villages and you can carry out these activities in the adopted villages. For example, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. There you can actually adopt few villages. Okay, so there you can do survey what they require, and accordingly you can plan out for extension activities in the adopted villages. So from we have actually inculcated the values inside in the curriculum. Yeah, by awarding them credits and by inculcating them a flair to do research, and then you do extracurricular activities, going out into the communities and doing extension services. Next is environment consciousness and sustainability. Now, in environment consciousness and sustainability, we have 3 questions, 7.1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. So the institution has facilities for alternate sources of energy and energy conservation measures. So this is a question related to that. And 7.1.3 is whether we are having different methods by which our waste is being managed. And we should have the agreements and MOUs related to that. And then next question is the water conservation facilities available in the institution. So we should have all the geotag photos and videos showing that. Always preserve the agreements and MOUs which we are signing towards any of these. Okay, so 7.1.2 and 7.1.4 is a quantitative question, which is an option-based question, and 7.1.3 is a qualitative question wherein you have to write an answer of 500 words. Now going into the details, energy conservation, which is 7.1.2. Are we doing anything for optimum usage of the equipments in our campus? Okay, how do we save electricity inside the campus? Are we using power efficient equipments? No, usually in the earlier days it was not so, but now we have this star rated equipment. So it is always better to go for star rated equipment so that you cut down the energy consumption. Then LED lights. So now most of the new buildings are going for these LED lights. So if you have had the older types of tube lights and CFL bulbs, when you change those, you change it to LED bulbs, because there is a questionnaire asking what is the total number of lights and what is the percentage of LED lights, or what is the total number of LED lights in your campus. Then is sensor-based alarm systems. So you can have certain sensor-based alarm systems which gives you, alerts you whenever there is an overusage of energy or an overusage of water, so that you can actually conserve it. Next is coming to alternate source of energy. In your institution, whether you're going for different alternate sources of energy other than the usual, like whether you have a solar energy. Solar energy is the most popular, which is being practiced in most of the institutions, because we have a huge terrace in most of the colleges where we can install these solar panels, and maybe you can cut short your energy by usage of solar energy. So there is a question on solar energy. So it is always better to have solar energy also being generated in the institution. Next is they have asked whether we have wheeled it to the grid. So other than whatever we get, if it is more than enough, it can also be supplied, or you can also sell out whatever you have in excess from the solar energy. And then there's the biogas plant that is also coming under waste management as well as energy conservation. So waste can be managed and it can be converted into biogas, and it can play a role in energy conservation. So it has got dual role, waste management and energy conservation. Next is 7.1.3, which is waste management. For this, you have to preserve the agreements and MOUs which we have signed with governments and approved agencies. Under waste management, it is always best to go from step by step segregation of waste. In the institution itself, it is better to have segregated waste bins in the campus, in every corridor, in the cafeteria and things like that. So it is better, it is easier to segregate the waste and manage the waste. So waste segregation should be wet waste, dry waste and plastic waste. And solid waste management, all the paper, we have a lot of paper being generated in the institutions. So maybe you can recycle the paper waste, and you can go for a dry leaves compost, because many campuses will be huge with a lot of trees around and a lot of leaves will be falling down. So all these can be converted to compost, or you can have a vermicompost pit, or this waste can be managed by converting it into biogas. Then for liquid waste management, you can also have a sewage treatment plant. Depending upon your institution, you can go for different capacities of sewage treatment plant. This actually helps a lot in conservation of water, because sewage treatment plant recycled water can be used for the gardening. Okay, so many campuses have huge greenery around, which can be watered using this recycled water. This recycled water can also be connected to the flushes if you have a dual flushing pump, so that again there can be a conservation of water. Then as hazardous chemicals and radioactive waste management, this is applicable to different institutions. Basically, hazardous chemicals and radioactive waste management is applicable for research institutions and medical colleges. If you have to stick to the standard operating procedures in the discarding of all these wastes. Next is e-waste management. E-waste management, it is always better to have a agreement with an e-vendor who can take up your e-waste. maybe on a quarterly basis or a half yearly basis, so that you are not putting it inside your campus. They will recycle it and make it into different products. Next is the water conservation, which is 7.1.4. Now, water conservation, whether we are having optimum usage of water. So this also can be checked up by regularly checking whether there is any leakage of taps, or you can install certain things in your taps so that there is not a gush of water coming out. You can keep some filters. There are certain appliances available to control the flow of water, because students know they will be opening the water tap and leaving maybe. So it is better. We have environment brigades in our college where these students go on rounds. We have put a timetable for them. They go around the campus and check whether people have switched off the lights. Usually we see now people switch on the projector and leave it on. The projectors are not switched off. So there are students who go around and take care of this so that we can have optimum usage of energy and water. Rainwater harvest, of course, in a state like Kerala is of very utmost importance, because we have rain in a large period of the year. So it is always better to have rainwater harvest as an alternate source of water, which can be filtered and used. Then whether we have borewell and whether we have open well recharge, and if it is a big campus, whether we are constructing check dams and bunds. Wastewater recycling, of course, we can have a sewage treatment plant, drip irrigation in order to conserve the water. So it is not like using a huge hose and pouring water. Drip irrigation, though the initial investment is little large, but if you see the amount of water being used, it drastically brings down the amount of water being used. And then maintenance of water bodies and distribution system in campus. This is applicable for huge campuses where they have inside the campus itself water bodies, where they can rechannelize these water bodies for various uses. Now we come to the next set of questions, that is 7.1.5, 6, and 7. All are quantitative. Green campuses initiatives. What are the initiatives which we do in our college? And for that, we should have certain policy documents. What are the decisions circulated for implementation of green initiatives in our college? Green initiatives can be anything. Whatever we have discussed now, everything will come under green initiatives. Okay, waste management, energy management, alternate source of energy. All these will come under green initiatives. Quality audits on environment and energy are regularly undertaken by the institution. Are we taking the audit regularly in our college? If so, what are the reports? Do we have the reports? Do we have the certificates related to that? Quality audits on environment can be either energy audit, green audit, or environment audit. And lastly, we have institution has disabled friendly, barrier-free environment. Okay, so this, whether we have the policy documents and information brochures supporting these, and the details of the software procured for providing the assistance. Now we'll go into the details of this. So this is the 7.1.5 dealing with green campus. Are we having a restricted entry of vehicles in the campus? Now, if we have a huge campus, most of the huge campus, especially the universities, we can see that the parking area is much away from the other departments where people walk or use a bicycle inside the campus. So it is always good to have a restricted entry of vehicles in order to prevent pollution. So that is always a good idea. And then use of bicycles and battery powered vehicles. So inside the campus, people are not going around in car and polluting or other automobile. Usage of bicycles and battery powered vehicles in a big campus is always good. And do we have pedestrian friendly pathways? It is not that no car is coming, bike is coming and people are walking around and there is a total chaos inside the campus. You have segregated pathways for pedestrians, and you have a restricted entry of vehicles, so everything is in peace inside the campus. Landscaping with trees and plants, of course, we need a lot of oxygen, and it is always good to have a lot of landscaping with trees and plants. As you enter the campus itself, that feeling of greenery and oxygen is actually very good. Next is ban on use of plastic. Of course, many colleges have taken up the initiatives for banning the use of plastics. What are the initiatives you do regarding that? Then how are you enhancing the green cover in the college? Now, enhancing the green cover can be your idea how to go about in the campus. Each campus is unique and distinct in its own way. How you can make it have a green cover is depending upon your idea. So you can give ideas. You can have a medicinal plant garden. You can label all the plants and trees inside your campus. You can have oxygen rich plants inside your campus. You can have indigenous trees inside your campus rather than going for trees which grows only in Western countries. Better to go for trees which are specific to Kerala, specific to Karnataka, things like that. And of course, going for paperless office. So that should be at most importance, because we should do our initiative to prevent cutting down trees. And then this is the future. Okay, now this is the next step. So it is better to have that in our idea. It has started coming up eco-friendly buildings. So if we have older buildings, I feel that the older buildings, the old colleges, we have the brick, the curricular based buildings which are actually green architecture using sustainable building materials. So it is always better to use sustainable building materials in the buildings. If you're going for a new building, always go for such building materials. Going for mud blocks and granite and things like that. Energy efficient doors and windows. It's always better to have huge doors, huge windows, long windows with double height ventilation, so that you are letting in a lot of sunlight and not depending upon the electric power for lights. Then green roof systems. It is a fantastic idea to have green roof systems. On your roof, you can have terrace gardens. Of course, you have to do waterproofing, and you can have terrace gardens. You can have vegetable growing in your roof so that it cools down the entire roof, entire building, and maximizing natural light. Now, this is important to have very ventilated areas where there is a cross ventilation inside the rooms. And if you have a quadrangle in the campus, it is it actually brings in light into all the classrooms, maximizing natural light. Water harvesting and purification system. Of course, in all the buildings, it is better to have your rooftops or your quadrangles will be the collection center of the water harvesting, and you should have a purification system for that. Usage of renewable energy. It can be either solar energy or tidal energy, or maybe you can depend on biogas plants. And you should have the option for charging station for electric vehicles now, because the fuels are getting depleted when you are going into the electric vehicles. Always have a charging station for electric vehicles in your parking areas. So that is about eco-friendly buildings. And beyond the campus extension activities, what all we can do, that is in 7.1.6. What are the things which you can do? And I know many institutions are doing a wonderful job around the community, especially in Kerala. I've read so many things being done in the community. So whatever you do, please document it, what you're doing. Please document it and saying what, and try to find out what is the impact you are doing in the community. It should be measurable. So when somebody asks what happened after doing all that, okay, so you should be something measurable when you do something. It can be Grama Swachh, it can be Shramadhan, Vana Mahotsa, or Viriksha Raksha. Viriksha Raksha is nothing but because many times there is a sapling plantation, but then we completely forget about those saplings. We don't go back and water those plants. Then you can go for any no plastic drive, waste segregation drives, awareness campaigning, e-waste management, lab to land programs. You can adopt villages and do many things. So you can do very, very creative things in and around your institution regarding this particular question. Finally, we go to quality audit. Whatever we do, it has to be audited, because when somebody comes and checks and tells you, okay, what is the energy usage of this year? Why did the energy shoot up in this month? Why is the energy usage going up in this year? Are you using power efficient equipment? What is the water consumption per day? What is the waste generated per day? What is the liquid waste generated per day? What are you doing with that much of liquid waste? So all these things will be assessed inside a green audit. So you might be doing many things, but only when you audit it, you are very clear about the calculations going on, what could be done better, what are you good in now, all these things you will be very clear. So audit is basically energy management. How do you manage the energy? How do you manage the water? How do you manage the environment around, and how do you manage the waste? So the audit is basically managing all this. So it is always better to have a quality audit. Either you can have a quality audit inside your campus, with the internal members, and external audit by an external agency will have a value. Then lastly, you can go for Clean and Green Campus Recognition Awards. So once you have done all this, you can apply for awards. So next to excellence comes the appreciation of it. So you will be always happy when you get a recognition. But don't worry when you're not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition. So even if you don't get awards, also don't feel bad. If you have strived towards, you feel happy. Okay, I have done something towards that. Okay. So next is, last one is disabled friendly, barrier free environment. What are the things which we do for that? Are we having environment with the ramps and lifts inside the campus so that any disabled people come, are they able to access your college freely? Whether we have disabled friendly washrooms with the necessary fittings for them to use it. Whether there are tactile paths, lights, display boards, signposts for the people to navigate through the campus properly. So these are essential. And then, are we having assistive technology for helping out these people? Accessible websites, screen reading software, mechanized equipment. There are many software and equipments available. Are we having any of those? And then, of course, provision for inquiry. So when they come into the campus, are they getting enough information? Is there any human assistance? Are there scribes for them to help them in their exam? Are there soft copies of reading materials available for them? So how friendly are we to the disabled? Are we, is the environment in my campus conducive for, is it people friendly? Okay, so we have to make facilities towards that. So the seeds of values such as cooperation, mutual understanding, truth, righteousness, environment consciousness, and sustainability during the early stages of education have to be reiterated and re-emphasized at the higher education. We teachers in higher education institutions have the moral responsibility to inculcate these values among our students through appropriate learning experiences and opportunities. We are together in this, and we will all do well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir.
This is Syed Mohammed from Tamil Nadu.
Okay, sir.
Because I have a doubt regarding the green audit as well as the energy audit. So are you suggesting any external agency for conducting this audit?
Are you going for the accreditation now? Which year are you going for it?
Because we are planning for the there is a December 2021 to December 2020, but due to COVID-19 problem, we are not submitting the SSR.
Okay, sir. Have you done any green audits before?
So far, we didn't do anything.
Okay, so it is you have to green audit. Do the green audit either internally or externally, and it is always better to have an external agency when you are going for an accreditation. Okay, the previous years maybe you can every year we can do by the internal members, but when you go for the accreditation, it is always better to have an agency which is doing the audits.
Can you cite some of the agency?
Because sir, I cannot say like that. In each state, they will have a different agency who is working. So you will have to find out from the net or by your contacts if any agencies are there, and they will help you out. For example, you can look out for environment protection or something like that. Anything related to that. There are many agencies which are actually working on this. So it is always look for different agencies. And then make a thorough study about it, talk to them, and finalize later. Once you take at least 4-5 agencies, and then you understand and then finalize. Okay,
madam. Madam.
Yeah.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
Okay.
This is Ronnie George from Department of English, K College, Mandanam.
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
It was an excellent session. It was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Can you suggest two or three simple green habits which can be inculcated in any campus?
Simple green habits is one is mainly we have to, first thing we have to remember is management of energy, waste, okay, and the greenery, enhancement of greenery. That is first thing. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Second thing is
yeah.
how are we managing our energy? What are the steps which we are taking towards energy management? That is what I have been explaining about usage of efficient equipments, 5-star rated equipments. Are we using LED lights in our campus? Then are we using solar power as an alternate source of energy? So these are the three things which we can do towards energy management. Okay. And then coming to waste management. So waste management, what is the thing, how are you converting the waste into useful products? Like, for example, do you have a compost pit? Do you have a vermicompost pit? Do you have a biogas plant in managing your waste? What are you doing with your paper waste? Are you recycling? Okay, so we are managing the energy, we are managing the waste, environment management. What are the steps which we do towards pollution? So that is why they have explained about how we can have bicycles and battery operated vehicles only inside the campus, whether we can have a restricted entry of the vehicles inside the campus. What are the things which we can do in order to prevent pollution either inside the campus? You were asking me about inside the campus only, no, sir? Ronnie, sir?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I hope I have answered your question.
Ma'am, regarding your interaction with neighboring communities, can you suggest two or three best practices?
Best practice, neighboring communities, you can, first thing is you go and give awareness. It can be either in the schools close by, or it can be a village which you can adopt. It is best to adopt a village so that you can show as to what are the changes which has happened after your, after you have gone there and done something. So you can create an awareness there. You can educate them to go for a rainwater harvest, because you have a lot of rain throughout the year, how to go about a rainwater harvesting. Maybe even in the apartment complexes also you can go and educate them about how rainwater harvest could be done. Communities, you can give biofertilizers, you can teach them how to make this compost, and maybe in the villages or for the farmers you can go and help them out using organic fertilizers. So these are few of the things which you can think of. Sir?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
Yes.
how can we prepare biodiversity register for the institution? This doubt is raised by the delegate Prakash G. Williams. How can we prepare biodiversity register for the institution?
Biodiversity register for the institution. Biodiversity register, usually we can go for the biodiversity calculation inside our campus. Usually we can have a tie-up with an environmental sciences college people or environment science experts. And in our college, what we have done, our botany students have gone for this biodiversity. We have not registered with any external agency. We have a logbook. We have a book in which we have these botany students of all the years and life science students have checked and labeled all the plants and trees in the campus. So we have this current affairs and such other hours, club activity hours. So this botany students and life science students make use of these hours to go into the campus and find out these plants, identify the plants, and identify their medicinal values, and they have written in the small boards and kept it there. So we have a register which is telling us clearly about what are the different species of plants available. Sir, is that fine?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm Dr. Saumi Mariam from St. Xavier's College, Kerala.
Okay, ma'am.
Can you suggest some ways for discarding the chemical waste? We have a chemistry department, which is a UG department.
Okay.
So we don't have a particular system for that, but the thing that they do is they neutralize these chemicals and they just discard them. Is it enough, or should we go for any plans or such things?
Actually, I am not an expert, ma'am. Whatever little knowledge I am having, I am sharing here. Usually it is said that the chemistry departments, it is better to be in the ground floor. I remember I am from St. Joseph's College, so we used to have our chemistry department in the ground floor. Now only I understand the reason why it was kept there. So because all the plumbing lines which comes from the top, it is not interrupting, so it is straight away down. Other than that, as what you're doing, neutralizing, for example, acids, acids and alkalis, we can neutralize and then dispose it. And it is always better to have 3 segregated bins in the labs for disposing the glassware separately and biomedical waste, not biomedical waste. For example, if you have a microbiology lab, you usually autoclave and dispose these materials.
Okay.
So you can have segregated color-coded bins inside the lab. Or you can also have other creative ideas of growing plants which can take up heavy metals and growing in the you can have something like that, or creative things you can think about also. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. One more question, ma'am.
Yes.
In our college, we have a green. We are doing a green audit by our students and teachers of botany department. Is that enough?
Initially, that is enough, ma'am. But when you go for an accreditation, it is better to have an external agency. Initially, even we did by ourselves only, so that we have a rough idea where we are lagging, where we have to do better. But near the accreditation time, it is always better to have a if you have a provision, go for an external agency, because they are more experts than us. So if you have a provision, go for external agency.
So we should have audit for energy and environment as well as green.
Yes,
green audit.
In the questionnaire, it is mentioned green audit, environment audit, and energy audit. Green audit and they are all actually overlapping audits. So there is no clear demarcation. Energy, of course, is different. Energy is about the energy consumption. Green and environment is actually very much overlapping. But certain agencies, they actually demarcate and give maybe the climate changes and what are the oxygen consumption or what is impact on the environment can come under environment, and the green cover and other things can come, waste management and all that can come in the green audit.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, another question from Suma MV in the chat box.
Yes, sir.
Is there any pattern to draft an MOU?
Pattern to draft an MOU is first you have to find out an agency who will help us. There are consultancies which will help you in giving you ideas as to how to manage your waste, how to manage your energy. There are consultancies, okay? So if you have an MOU with them, they will help you. They will give you a clear idea as to how to go about certain things. So MOU you can draft with them. You can make a rough draft with them. Mutual understanding, it should be signing between institution and the agency. You should also explain as to what is the period of the memorandum of understanding, whether it is for 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year. What is the time period for that, and what are the things which they have agreed upon. You have to actually list out what are the things which we have agreed upon. So whether they will help us out in managing energy, whether they will help us out in managing the waste, So you have to list out the objectives of the memorandum of understanding. So these are the 4 different things, and then it has to be signed by both the parties, and then that is it.
Okay, ma'am. Another doubt from Mini Anu.
Yes,
How
sir.
to do energy audit in the campus?
Energy audit is basically you have to make a list of all the things which is related to energy. For example, you have to have a list of all the lights, total number of lights, total number of LED lights, total number of fans used, total number of lifts used, what is the energy consumption. For example, your electricity bill every month for a particular year. If you're using for a particular year, what is energy consumption? What is the consumption of gas in in particular year in the labs? Okay, so you are actually making a documentation of the entire energy consumption inside your campus. What are the alternate sources you have? Are you having a biogas plant? After the installation of biogas plant, whether the energy consumption has come down? Okay, so it is a calculation you are doing. Okay, after installing the bioenergy gas plant, my energy consumption has come down. Similarly, yeah, these are the things which can come under energy management, whether solar energy is being generated, how much of percentage of your total energy consumption is being managed by solar energy. Okay, so this is about how many power efficient equipments are there in your college. So these are the things which comes under energy audit. Did I clear your question?
Okay, ma'am. Another doubt from Dr. Renjusha Sadish.
Okay, sir.
Can you suggest methods for disposing chemical waste in colleges?
Disposing chemical waste, that is what we should have segregated this thing, and it is better in colleges. It is usually the acids, so which we can neutralize and dispose, and we should have segregated, for example, color coded bins, as I have explained a little earlier. And other than that, if it's a biological waste, each biological waste, how it has to be discarded, it has got a separate standard operating procedure. So we have to follow that particular method. Chemicals, of course, it is either you dilute it or neutralize it and then you dispose it.
Regarding e-waste?
E-waste, it is better to have a MOU with an e-vendor. Okay, there are e-vendors, lots of e-vendors are there who will collect your e-waste. So you actually collect your e-waste and keep it separately, and they come and collect it at least once in 4 months or once in 6 months, and they recycle it. So you have to have a MOU with e-vendors for that.
Thank you, ma'am. Another doubt from Jayagumar K.
Yes.
How will you address the locational advantages and disadvantages during a year while preparing a QAR?
Okay, this locational advantages and disadvantages, that question has been changed now. Okay, now in February, many changes have come in this thing. So last AQAR had locational advantages and disadvantages, but in the NAC criteria 7, it has been it has been changed to inclusiveness and situatedness, which has become qualitative. The other one was quantitative. We had to list out all the activities which were related to locational advantages. Locational advantages and disadvantages is like, what are see, for example, I am situated near the airport, my institution. Okay, for example, I'm telling, if my college is situated near the airport, it is a locational advantage you have to take up. So you start courses related to, jobs related to the airport, for example, air ticketing and ground star, about that, some training courses, certificate courses you are doing, means it is easier for the students to get placed. So that is locational advantage. Okay. Locational disadvantage is, suppose you are far off in a rural area. So, no, you cannot, you are not getting enough students from all around the place. What are you doing for, though it is a disadvantage, what are the things which I am doing for the community around? Okay. After a few years, in the when 5 years back, what was the situation around in that college? After 5 years, what has happened? Though it was a disadvantage, how I could make it into an advantage. So you have to think in different ways, depending upon your institution and where it is situated. I hope I have cleared your answer.
Thank you, ma'am. Another doubt?
Yes, sir.
From Redhi CR. Some suggestions to adopt villages and green practices regarding extension activities.
That I think you can go to the local panchayat member and you can speak to them and you can see. But in Kerala, I think so many things are being done at the panchayat level, through Kudumbashree and things like that. So many things are being going on. But of course, you can approach the panchayat member, and maybe you can take up a village or a small area of a village also, and you can do things there. For example, maybe you can make biofertilizers, teach them how to make biofertilizers, or or you spread awareness among them. Your students go to them and speak to them regarding how COVID, the spread of COVID, how it could be. Now it is not possible. Maybe about dengue awareness or things like that. Of course, you have to have your social distancing and things like that. But when things become clearer, maybe you can do things like that. Now, during this COVID times also, what are you doing for your community? You can think about. Yes.
Let me invite Dr. Sandhya C. for giving a few words of gratitude and thanks to all the participants. Sandhya, Miss, please.
I take this opportunity to thank Professor Priya Josen for giving a fabulous presentation. Actually, her credentials are expressed in this presentation. Thank you very much, Priya. Our deep sense of gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. Bridget Paul, for the inaugural speech. With profound gratitude, I express my sincere thanks to Father Dr. Xavier C.S. for the valuable words as felicitation. Dr. Matthew Stitheli, our IQAC coordinator, is the part of this program. There is no formality about any thankfulness to him, but I extend my sincere thanks to his wholehearted support. I also like to express my thanks to the IQAC members, Dr. Joliama Matthew, Dr. Renu Jose, Professor Tijo Matthews, Mr. Shamal Tia, and then the main coordinating person of this webinar, Mr. Shibin, the management, all the faculty members for the support for this webinar. Now, the most important persons of this webinar, our honorable delegates, I thank each one of them for their active participation. We had a very active question and answer session. And once again, I thank one and all on behalf of IQAC and KE College for the successful completion of this webinar. Thank you.